Hello guys, and welcome to weekly recap here on gold, the pound USD, the USDCAD, and the DXY. And on Monday I started with the DXY, anticipating a bearish DXY. Price was at this region. I was anticipating a rejection from here, continuation to retest 104 region here, probably below. We saw that play out at the beginning of the week, and then we saw this double bottom here, and price really skyrocketed and went up to retest 105.50. And then, as you can see, this big bar here, this is the non-farm payroll, and we've seen price dump back below again, retesting this region here one more time, region of 104. Let's see how that affected the rest of our pairs. For gold, I was anticipating a break of this region, a retest of it, and a continuation. We broke back below, not giving us quite a good way to actually trade these pairs. And then there was no reconfirmation for maybe like a breaking back into this region, maybe like a pullback to this region to give us a head and shoulder pattern to continue to the downside. So there was no entry, and then price came back again to these regions here. It wasn't clear. It wasn't my own style of trading, so basically I didn't really get the best kind of trades. And then price came back to this region. I was anticipating that this is the best setup, a break back into this region, a pullback, and I was anticipating to get my entry here. I took a loss here because I was anticipating a sell to the downside for continuation. And then all of a sudden we saw the non-farm payroll news taking gold up all the way to these regions. So I actually didn't trade the non-farm payroll, but this was my best analysis for price to actually continue to the downside. And so far you've seen the non-farm payroll taking price back to that regions of 1871. We might actually anticipate that maybe going into next week price will actually reject these regions and continue to the downside, but nothing is clear. We could actually see that there's a possibility for price to continue to the upside. Now on the pound USD, my anticipation was if price breaks through 1.1920 or 1.2150 for buys and sells respectively. So price broke through this region, yes, but the best bet was this retest here, these rejections here, but it was already close to the non-farm payroll. So I had to hold back to look for an opportunity to actually sell pound USD from this region to the downside. And then we saw reverse being the case, where price pulled back all the way to these regions, breaking back the highs it created earlier this week. And going forward, price might actually just reject these regions and continue. We don't know yet. To see how the structure looks like next week. For now, price didn't really play out perfectly the way we anticipated. There was no much perfect setup, and even though if I went into this trade, it would have been a loss because this was a good break of support, and you're supposed to turn a resistance at this region, and then we see reverse being the case. So over here on USDCAD, my anticipation also was for price to reject this region and maybe we'll pull back to retest 135 regions, but reverse being the case, if we see price break above. I also anticipated that if price breaks above this region, we should look for a retest. So there was no clear retest, and there was no opportunity the way I wanted it. So price pull back to this region for 138.31. Going forward into next week, we actually might reject this region and then probably continue to the downside. On DXY, basically we know what happened. I already mentioned that. Going into next week, I'm waiting for two things. If price really breaks below 104 region, then we might actually see DXY continue to the downside. But if we start getting a rejection here, we might continue the bullish sentiment. I'll be very much bullish on DXY if it breaks 105.50-60 region, and then I'm very sure that price would actually, not very sure, nothing is consistent in this market, but if price breaks through this region, we should anticipate price to come all the way to 107 region. All right, that's that for the week. The week didn't go, I would just say 50%. We had I had a couple of good trades, but it is what it is. So going forward, we'll see you guys on Monday, and then we'll see how price will play out before the end of the day, and then we'll wait for new structures on Monday. And enjoy your weekends, guys. Ciao.